Welcome back, guys. Lonestar Patriot here. Thanks for joining me. So to wrap up our budget rifle upgrade series on this Anderson AM-15 optic ready rifle, I want to run through just a brief synopsis of all the upgrades that I've done to this rifle, talk about the price of those components, along with talking about some of my initial impressions after about 100 to 150 rounds through this rifle. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so what I want to do is run through all the upgrades I've done to this particular rifle, along with discussing the price of each upgrade. Now, first things first, I want to mention that I got a lot of these upgraded items on sale, so if you take your time and be patient, you can find these items on sale and discounted. Now, if we start with the rifle itself, this is the Anderson AM-15 optic ready rifle, and I picked this up at a heck of a deal through Brownells.com during the halftime show of the Super Bowl. So the rifle itself came in at a price point of $300, and then Brownells has a processing fee of $10. So for $310 delivered, it's again a heck of a price on a rifle like this. Now, if we start with the buttstock and move our way towards the muzzle, this is a Mission First Tactical Battle Link minimalist stock. And what I like about this stock is it's one of the lightest on the market and fairly reasonably priced. So I picked this up for right around the $35 mark. Now, moving on to the grip itself, I replaced the A2 style pistol grip with a Daniel Defense enhanced pistol grip, and this particular grip has the integrated trigger guard, which I prefer. It also has better ergonomics in my opinion, given that the angle of the grip is much steeper than the A2 style grip, and this came in right about $28. Now if we move on to the charging handle, I replaced the standard mil-spec type charging handle with a BCM Mod 4 charging handle. The Mod 4 corresponds to a medium latch size. I pretty much run those on every single rifle that I have. And the charging handle came in right at a price point of about $47. Now, one thing to note is I replaced the aluminum magazine with a Magpul PMag. And then if we move on to the rail, I replaced the A2 style plastic handguards with a BCM. This is the KMR Alpha 15-inch rail. It's a key mod rail. And this came in at a price point of $176. Now, also one thing to note is that I added the BCM rail covers, which is just to protect my hand from the heat dissipated from the barrel as well as the handguard. So these will run about $10. Now, what you can't see, but I replaced the gas block with a BCM low profile gas block. And originally that came on the rifle was an A2 style Picatinny rail gas block. So this again is the BCM low profile gas block with a 3/4 inch inside diameter, which matches the 3/4 inch outside diameter of the barrel at the gas port location. And that came in right about $40. Now I also chose to replace the gas tube with a Spikes Tactical melanated carbine length gas tube. And again, there's probably nothing wrong with the stainless gas tube that came with the rifle. It's just my preference to use the melanated version, and that came in right at about $18. So all in all, as you see it here, the rifle itself with the upgrades I've just described came in at a price point of just about $650. So again, a heck of a deal, again, for a rifle alone, much less with these upgrades. Now, if we talk about the optic itself, the mount, as well as the light, obviously these are going to be dependent upon your particular preferences. So I don't consider these to be upgrades, but I'll go ahead and discuss them since I'm showing you this rifle. Now, if we start with the light itself, this is a Stream light. This is the Rail Mount 2 light. And what I like about this light is it's a high output light. It also comes with the pressure pad. And this comes in right about the $100 to $110 mark. So it's a quality light that's probably about half of a Surefire comparable light. So again, one of my favorite lights that I like to run. I do prefer to run this in the 3 o'clock position, especially when I have a pressure pad. Now, if we move on to the optic, this is a primary arms. This is the 1:8 second focal plane scope, and it's got the ACSS reticle. Now, the reason why I chose this is because at least it's a budget optic to match a budget style rifle, as well as I plan to do some accuracy testing with this rifle shortly. So also I have got that mounted in a American Defense manufacturing. This is a Recon 30 mount, definitely a high quality mount. And overall, that's pretty much all the upgrades I've done. So I want to jump into my overall initial impressions of the rifle thus far, after putting about 100 rounds or so downrange. Okay, so with the discussion of the upgrades out of the way, of course the rifle looks great in this configuration, although the real question is how does it function and does it function reliably? Now, I have to say that my overall impression from my trip to the range has been pretty disappointing thus far. Now, what happened is that, like I mentioned earlier, I put about 100 to 150 rounds through the rifle, and on pretty much every single round, what would happen is that the round would fire, the bolt, of course, would cycle, it would then strip a round from the magazine, although the bolt wouldn't go back into battery, so it wouldn't seat. And so what I'd have to do is basically recharge the charging handle to send the bolt home and then fire the next round. So I don't think that this is a difficult fix, although it's frustrating that you have a brand new rifle out of the box that doesn't function properly. Now, what I plan to do is give the rifle a very thorough cleaning and lubrication, and then I also think that the remedy is pretty straightforward in terms of maybe a revised buffer spring and buffer. But what I want to do is head over to the bench and show you a couple of things I've noticed that might be the remedy for this issue. Okay, so I moved over to the bench, and what I want to run through now is what I think to be causing the issues with the rifle not cycling correctly, of it going back into battery. Now, obviously I've got the buffer spring in front of me. This is from the Anderson rifle, as well as the buffer. And then for comparison, I've got a BCM buffer spring and buffer, both of which have the same specification in terms of being a standard weight buffer and spring. Now, both weigh the same. I've already done that off camera, so they should be theoretically identical in terms of the specifications. Now, the one thing that you'll notice is that if I compare the two springs in terms of the overall length, so again, this being the Anderson spring, this being the BCM spring, you'll notice that there's about a ½ inch of a difference in terms of the overall length between the two. Now, the Anderson rifle buffer spring being longer, so the number of coils, which equals 38 on these springs, is identical between both. It's just the overall length is different. So I don't know if this is just a one-off issue or maybe just a bad spring, but it's certainly a different spring in terms of the length that might be causing this exact problem. Now, the Anderson spring itself is a very cheap spring. It's probably about $3 to $5. So the overall QC of the springs might be causing this to where I just don't have a spring that's in spec. But what I'm going to do is actually swap out the spring with the BCM buffer spring and see if that actually resolves the issue. All right, guys, so to wrap up the series covering the budget rifle upgrades to this Anderson rifle, obviously I'm disappointed currently given the fact that I can't get the gun to function properly out of the box from the manufacturer. However, I do think that it's a simple yet inexpensive fix to get this to work properly. Again, I'm not excusing the fact that it doesn't work, but I do think I can get this up and running pretty easily. So I'll definitely report back once I have the corrections made, let you of course know what I did. Now, if you have the same rifle or maybe another rifle that's experienced the same type issue, please post in the comments box down below to let not only myself know, but also others know what you've done to remedy it. Now, I think once that's done, I can obviously appreciate the upgrades that I've done to this rifle a lot more. But what I plan to do, of course, once the gun is up and running, I plan to do some accuracy testing with this. Now, you're typically only as good as your bolt carrier group and your barrel. So given the fact that I haven't changed this and it's an inexpensive or budget rifle to begin with, I'm curious to see what kind of groups and accuracy we can get from this particular rifle. So stay tuned for that video. But overall, thanks for watching the series. I hope you found it enjoyable and maybe gave you some good suggestions for upgrades that you might want to do to your own rifle. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and keep up the good fight. A brief overview of these items in terms of, hey, buffer spring. Now, I've got the Anderson buffer spring and buffer, and then I've also got for the rifle itself, this is the halftime show of the Super Bowl, and this